child who comes back from play school and shares, Mama, you know what has happened today? That child is also telling a story.
Correct.
Yeah, a teacher has to be a storyteller, a child is a storyteller, a person in the corporate sector is a storyteller, he's motivating people to do work, he's telling stories every day. Each and every profession, all human beings are storytellers, each and every one of you.
So to be effective, there are some broad guidelines which need to be followed so that you are an effective storyteller, you are making an impact on people.
Yes, that is what. And in the work that they do, actually I have been trying to tell them continuously throughout today that what you do is tell stories. Your stories are animated. What you learn is a software, that is a skill to make the mouse move. There is a mouse with a tail. I am talking about a rat, not the computer mouse. This mouse is here. You know the skill to make that mouse move from here to there. But why is the mouse moving there? The storyteller will tell you. How, this is what I have been trying to explain to them the entire day, that the mouse runs. Now, the mouse has seen a piece of cheese there and the mouse will run towards the cheese. That you have to understand. This is one sentence. Now, what will be the body language of the mouse? That unless and until you cannot visualize, how are you going to put it in animation? So, when a mouse sees a piece of cheese, it will be so happy. You know, that the way the mouse will squeak will be very different when the mouse sees a cat. Then also the mouse will jump, then also the mouse will run. Will the body language be the same?
It will differ.
It will differ. The way it will squeal will differ. Seeing the cheese, the mouse will run towards the cheese. Seeing the cat, the mouse will not run towards the cat, will run away from it. So these small things you need to visualize inside your brains, and that is when you are, if you know how to tell that story, will you be able to visualize that entire thing, think about the body language, think about the sound that the rat is going to make, and then create. Animation is something, it is the story is happening inside your mind. Animation is the pen that you have in hand. Pen is just writing it down. Animation is something that you're using the software to make it on the screen. I write down on paper. But what will I write down on paper if that is not happening inside my head? The creating thing is happening there. The creating thing is happening in my mind and observing things, listening from others. A storyteller also has to be a very good listener. Unless and until you are observing what is happening around you, I will not be...
But there is a common misconception that storytellers have to be good in oral communication. I don't think that is a prerequisite. They should be able to visualize, they should be able to put it on paper at least.
Because a storyteller is not somebody who is always telling stories.
Talking.
Because a storyteller is a person who is writing is also a storyteller, no?
Absolutely.
A person who is doing it by computers is also a storyteller. So everybody, I have wonderful storytellers who, I've met children who are non-verbal but they tell. They are also telling, they can't speak also. But they are communicating with actions, with lip movements, and we are managing. So is it only that I have a power of speech that I am telling? No, you can write it down. So there also you are creating the story. It's absolutely, and the more you learn to listen, the more you learn to observe, better stories will you create. It's not, I use telling as a profession, so I talk that much. It is not really necessary. A writer is also creating a story, a painter is also creating a story. It's just a different mode of expressing, telling the story in a different way. But a story nonetheless. So it's not that it is the verbal words are required. That is why today while creating the story I gave them two options. That either you write it down, or there are picture frames that whatever is coming to your head, either way. And so many of them, they drew first, they could not write because so many of them are not very good in English or expressive in English. They expressed it through the picture. It's fine. So each picture frame, and it completed the story also through the picture frames, and then they could tell me what was happening there. Ma'am, I can't write it down. I said, what you were telling now, you write it down, because either way it is expressing the story that is important. What is coming into your head with 6 random words, that is important. Not how you write it down, because maybe you are not going to become a Shakespeare and print the book. But what you have seen in visualized, that is going to go down. And that's what I said, that tomorrow you can animate that. Use the tools that you have learned. Speaking, writing, animation, they're just tools to express what. So that expression will only come when you learn to imagine, when you learn to create. That is it. Writing it down or telling it out, or what language. That is why I keep telling them, it is not necessary that you have to write in English. There are so many of them are good in Hindi. I think they're Hindi speaking. Use the language you use. I mean, the story is not dependent on English. So that is why you have the freedom of choosing any language you want, your mother tongue. That is the language you dream in, that is the language you think in. Why you want to change it into some other? It's not necessary. This becomes impediments, so then you can't express yourself properly. Then they are thinking of grammar, they are thinking of whether the sentence is correct, all those things. It's not necessary. Give free expression to that. A picture doesn't need grammar, it doesn't have language. Those things are not there. So that is why I allow them. They are not good artists, all of them. But you just need to stick to see what it is. It's like telling stories have become less for me. It has become application of stories in different places.